exhausted, overweight, burnt out, and hopeless. Those are the words Tony used to describe himself when we first started working together. And I kind of get choked up when I think about that because I remember the state that he was in when we first started his fitness journey. And I look at him now with his face radiant and smiling, way leaner than before, more muscle mass on his body, confident, proud of himself and who he is and when he looks in the mirror. And it's just like, honestly guys, this is why I do what I do. And in this video, we're gonna break down exactly what we did. I'm gonna pull the curtain back and show you exactly step by step how somebody like Tony, a very successful executive in the entertainment industry who's been in the game for over 2 decades, how he could dial in his health and fitness even while traveling multiple times a month, quite literally almost every week he was on the road, and also has 2 kids. And so balancing family life, traveling, and excelling at his career while also taking care of his health, it sounds near impossible. And when he signed up with me, he told me, he was like, I don't think this is possible, but I have lost all hope and I have to try something. I have to give this a shot. You could see the results in his physical transformation, but also his health. He got the best markers that he's had in the past 7 years on his medical tests. He just got a physical. So we're gonna break down everything step by step. So in this video, we're gonna have 3 parts. We're gonna first talk about his systems with nutrition, then we're gonna talk about his systems with exercise, and finally, we're gonna talk about his mindset shifts. So let's start off with nutrition. With his nutrition changes, what did we do? We wanna increase his diet to be higher in protein. So on his very first call, we did was map out step by step 2 different nutrition plans, one for at home, one for on the road. The one at home was, whatever he could have on hand, he and his wife would cook. We built out a grocery list together so that he knew exactly what to get. We auto ordered all of the things so they would just show up at the doorstep. And with groceries, we focused more on non-perishable things that wouldn't go bad, that he could have quickly on hand. With the on the road game plan, this is where things got a little more interesting because now we had to look at all of the different airports he was flying in and out of and map out exactly what he would get from each of the airports. We also went through all the major restaurants that he's eating at. Typically for Tony, he was hopping between 3 or 4 different cities, namely Chicago, New York, DC, and I think Atlanta. So those were the 4 major hubs. So we went through all those airports, went through all the cities. He started to get a rhythm down of which different cuisines he liked, which different restaurants. And then he also needed to understand sort of the framework. So for whenever he went to a new restaurant, he would know exactly what to order. Once he started dialing that in and hitting his macronutrient targets consistently, that's when his body composition started to change. And the reason in this video I'm starting with nutrition is because nutrition is the highest leverage, most important thing. If you're watching this video being like, I'm so busy, I don't know how I'm gonna fit in workouts, I don't want you to worry about workouts yet. I want you to focus on nutrition first because that is gonna drive 80% plus of your results. Workouts are just like a nice fuel to the fire to add in on top of that. So once he nailed his nutrition, now we progress into the workout side of things. So we wanted to start building consistency with workouts, but the problem is his schedule isn't consistent. So when traveling, this is also really important, just kind of like mindset framework to take, is when traveling, you have to accept the fact that you're not gonna be able to work out on the same days every single week and have access to the same equipment every single week. It's just not feasible, it's not gonna happen. So with Tony, what we did was we took the same approach with training as we did with nutrition, built him out 2 different training plans, one for at home, one for on the road. When he's at home, he can use the gym that he had close by to his house, get some great workouts in, use all the machines, awesome. When he's on the road, we have hotel workouts, dumbbells, bench, maybe some cables if we're lucky, right? But when you maximize the efficiency of that workout, you can superset a lot of the sets, have your training windows be 30 to 45 minutes, and still have a high intensity training session. So that's exactly what we did. He started to get stronger week after week. And as you can see in the picture of his tricep, it really started to show. Pretty cool stuff. He started to get excited once he started to see the progression and feel the progression of oh, I'm getting stronger. It's a pretty empowering feeling to be getting stronger. So once he kind of got over the initial hurdle of like being fearful of the gym and not really knowing what to do, then he started to build that self-confidence of like, wait, I can do this by myself. I can show up to the gym, walk through the app of exactly what to do, and then complete my workout. And he started to gain more and more confidence. So then the final piece to lock it all together was the mindset. So when Tony came to me, he had the mindset of, this isn't possible for me. I'm too busy. Like, there's no hope. I've tried everything else in the book. He'd done every diet, right? Keto, Whole30, intermittent fasting. Like, he'd hired in-person personal trainers, but he could never show up to the workouts, right? Like, he'd tried every single other solution in the books. But what we started to do together was a lot of the mindset work too, where we started to shift, one, his beliefs, right? If you believe something isn't possible, then you're not going to take any action to make it a reality, right? So to shift his beliefs, I basically just introduced him to everybody else in the program, and they all told him, they're like, hey, Tony, I also work just as much as you. I also am on the road just as much as you. I travel all the time, and I'm still getting great results. I'm still getting leaner, right? And I think that's the beauty of community, because we have group calls every week. And so on those group calls, he would just sit there and like look at everybody else and be like, oh, wow, this guy had a transformation. This woman had this transformation. Like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Right? And so that started to break that limiting belief that he had of like, this isn't possible for me, to him starting to realize, wait, no, this actually is possible for me. So if you're sitting here thinking, this isn't possible for me, if Tony can do it and the dozens of testimonials that we have on our page can do it, then you can do it too. You just need the right system. The second mindset I needed to work on with Tony was his identity. And this one is the most pivotal part to maintaining your health and fitness routine for the rest of your life. Because once his identity shifted into I am a fit, healthy person, that's when it's game over. I'll explain quickly the psychology behind this. So there's something in psychology called the term cognitive dissonance. And what that means is when there are sort of like two conflicting ideas in the mind, it creates this dissonance where it just doesn't match and it feels weird and it creates a lot of discomfort, right? So initially when Tony started, he came to me having the belief of, I am not a fit, healthy person, right? And if he has that belief, is he gonna wanna take actions that a fit, healthy person does? No, because every time he takes those actions, he's gonna feel that dissonance and be like, no, I'm this way, I'm not fit, I'm not healthy, right? But as he started to take those actions more and more often, build that momentum and build that evidence, he started to shift his belief about himself and he started to see himself as a fit, healthy person. And so one of the things that I think is extremely important and not talked about enough in terms of fitness transformations is the inner work and the mindset work to actually start to change the way that we perceive ourselves. Because once we change our beliefs, that changes the thoughts that we have, which changes the actions we take, which ultimately changes the results that we get. So as he started to shift, we did a lot of identity work of like, crafting that Tony 2.0, right? Like, what does that 2.0 version of Tony actually look like? How does he think? How does he feel? How does he act? What habits does he do? What habits does he stop doing, right? And so we mapped all of that out, and as he started to take action, that's what built that identity stronger and stronger and stronger, until he got to the point where one of my favorite messages from him was where he said, everything's on autopilot now. I don't have to think about it anymore. And that is the ultimate goal. Once you get to all of these things being on autopilot, that's where the true magic happens, because then you can just maintain it for the rest of your life. And that's where I'm at, and that's why I've been able to maintain my physique and my health and fitness for years while traveling all the time, is because it's just so ingrained in me now. It's just autopilot. I don't have to think about it. So when you are going through your fitness journey, that's a big thing that I want you to think about, is like, how do I make all these things autopilot? Because there's a lot of fitness information out there. It's going to tell you like there are like 20 different actions you should be doing. You should be getting sunlight and doing cold plunges, and you should be doing this and doing that, and only eat this meat, and only, don't eat carbs. And there's just so much, information, so much conflicting information, honestly, out there. It's really annoying. So just focus on like one high leverage activity at a time. And that's exactly what we do in our program, is give our clients, okay, here's the one thing. If you just do this one thing, this is the highest leverage action for you to do. And once they nail that one thing, then we add on the second one and the third one and the fourth until it all just happens on autopilot naturally. If you try to do 10 or 15 different habits at once, you're gonna fail at doing any of them. It's gonna be impossible to stick to any of them. But if you just focus on one, nail it and get it consistent, then you'll be able to add a second on top of it. So anyways, with all that being said, this sums up Tony's journey. Again, the 3 things that we worked on was nutrition, dialing in the right ratio of macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs, no matter what situation he found himself in. Number 2 is consistent workouts, specifically strength training to build up his muscle mass and improve his metabolism. And then number 3 is improving his mindset, building the identity of him being the version of himself that he wants to be, because once he believes that identity is true, he'll take the actions of that version of himself and then get the results that he wants. I hope this video was helpful. If you want help developing and creating a customized plan just like what we did for Tony, you can click on the link down below and book in a call with us. I hope this video was helpful. Comment any takeaways or other questions you want to see me make videos on, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.